Here's a story from Newsbeat. The Secret War Crime. I'm Suzanne D., and you are listening to Newsbeat Radio. Time reports on the most shameful consequence that comes out of conflicts. Mary and her family were members of the Nuer tribe in South Sudan, caught up in a vicious power struggle between the new country's president, Salva Kiir, a member of the Dinka tribe, and his vice president, Riek Machar, a Nuer. Their war, fought largely along ethnic lines, has turned the northern part of the country into a wasteland. At least 50,000 people have been killed, according to the UN. Nearly 4 million face famine, and another 2.2 million have fled their homes, recounting tales of civilian slaughter, gratuitous torture, and even forced cannibalism. Mary and her family were among the tens of thousands of civilians seeking refuge at a UN peacekeeping base in the northern city of Bentiu when they ran into Kiir's forces on the road in June 2014. The 27-year-old recounts what occurred next distantly, as if she were explaining something that happened to someone else. The soldiers told Mary that they considered the Nuers in the camps to be rebels, and that they killed her sons because they couldn't risk letting them grow up to be fighters. "We don't kill the women and the girls," the soldiers told Mary. "They said they would only rape us, as if rape were different than death," says Mary, speaking in a safe house in neighboring Uganda, run by Make Way Partners, an American Christian organization that provides housing, medical care, and schooling for South Sudanese orphans and victims of human trafficking. After the soldiers killed her husband and sons, 5 of them held her down and forced her to watch as 3 others raped her 10-year-old daughter. Her name was Nayalat. When the men were done, Mary says, "I couldn't even see my little girl anymore. I could only see blood." Then the men took turns with Mary. Nayalat died a few hours later. I wanted to die too. Rape in war is as old as war itself, but the intimate nature of sexual assault means that the horrors often go undocumented, sanitized out of history books, and glossed over in news accounts that focus on casualties and refugee numbers. Yet that mass rape is so common in wartime only makes it more corrosive. It spreads disease. Its stigma destroys families and breaks down society. It leaves unwanted children who serve as constant reminders of the worst day of their mother's life. Rape is a weapon even more powerful than a bomb or a bullet, says Gina Mukininwa, a 28-year-old woman from Shabunda in the Democratic Republic of Congo. "At least with a bullet, you die. But if you have been raped, you appear to the community like someone who is cursed. After rape, no one will talk to you. No man will see you. It's a living death." Mukuninwa knows. In 2004, at the end of Congo's own factional war, soldiers attacked her village. They tortured and killed the men. Then they stripped the women, including Mukuninwa, and staked their arms and legs to the ground and left them to be used by any passing soldiers. Mukuninwa doesn't know how many men raped her during captivity, but she remembers that they used sticks and rifle barrels as well. She was 16 years old. When the women passed out from the pain, soldiers revived them with buckets of water. The UN reports that 200,000 Congolese women and children have been raped during Congo's long simmering conflict. Estimates for South Sudan are in the thousands. Both numbers are likely too low, says Pablo Castillo-Diaz, a specialist on sexual violence in conflict for UN Women, the UN agency tasked with issues of women's equality, protection, and empowerment. Rape is one of the most underreported war crimes that there are. Women, if they survive the attack, rarely tell anyone else. We only hear of the most brutal incidences or the public ones that the whole community sees. But that's begun to change. Rape may be a common war tactic, but it was only prosecuted as a crime against humanity in 1998 by the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia, following the discovery of the rape camps used by Serb soldiers during the Bosnian War. At the same time, Rwandan officials were also charged with rape as a war crime during that country's 1994 genocidal conflict. Widespread media coverage of both trials drew international condemnation. Talking about rape in war became less taboo.